migrants. The majority of protesters had asylum seeker permits in South Africa. There were also a number of people with refugee status and a small number of undocumented people. So most of the people protesting there had documents. And so their status came into question because when the police had arrested everybody, they arrested all the men and sent them to prison. The women were all taken to Lindela. So immediately as church, we were concerned about the separation of families. I got multitude of texts because when they found out that they were all actually documented and legal, I don't like to use the term for people, but when they found that they were documented and the documents were in order, they had to get the women out of Lindela because Lindela is a repatriation center, and so they had no space there, place to be there. So they got buses and they took people away. They dropped them in Johannesburg city center, in Pretoria city center, because they had nowhere else to drop them. They had removed women and children without any kind of concrete plan as to what to do with them. So at midnight we got frantic calls. I'm in this place, I don't know where, I don't know Johannesburg, my husband is arrested. Can you please help us? Can we find a space? So a few churches have offered them a space to try and just get the women off the streets. We were concerned that what had happened was that the wealthy community of Brooklyn, where the protest happened, had the capacity to address many of the social issues that existed there. They could feed people. There was a space where people could actually access a lot of the basic necessities that they needed. What government had done, and the URA had effectively done, was to take very vulnerable women and children and place them in precarious communities where the vulnerability was exponentially expanded. So we're still fighting with them on that. The men are all still in jail. So over the Christmas period, the UNHCR gave all the women 4,200 rand. So this is obviously after this, our continuous engagement. They gave 4,200 rand. They spent it on accommodation because many of these women aren't used to being sleeping on the streets. Many of the stories that we had surfaced while we were doing our interviews, that many women being raped on the street went to the police, but because they were seen as foreigner, and when we use the term illegal migrants, we tend to think that people are living crimes. So they protest, their laying of cases doesn't really get recognized, and so they become triply and multiple.
What causes an asylum seeker to flee their country of origin? Because obviously before they're recognized as a refugee, before they go through the process, they're an asylum seeker. So usually it can be one of 5 grounds, like which include political persecution, ethnic persecution, religious, and among others. So those are the reasons that people can find themselves having to leave their country and come all the way to South Africa. You see? Because I mean, every country has the right to decide, in their nationality laws, like who and how they grant nationality to. So what happens is, he was born to a Burundian mother in Tanzania, and he left the Tanzanian camp before he could actually apply for citizenship there. So what happens is, the Burundian nationality law will say, because the mother was born in the camp and her son was born in the camp, then she can't pass on her nationality. There are clauses that can exist like that. And then Tanzania may say, okay, if you're born in Tanzania, then you need to, at the age of majority, just express an intent to acquire nationality. So he didn't do that because he left before he was of that age. Finds himself in South Africa without any nationality because he falls through the cracks there. So that's a case that we then had to take on to Home Affairs to just appeal. But then appeal to them to rather consider him or grant him permanent residence as the first prize. But the challenge there is that South Africa hasn't signed on to the 2 conventions on statelessness. The 1954 convention relating to the status of stateless persons, then the 1961...
Generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. My generation, our mission was to effectively and successfully dismantle this apartheid system. That was my mission. And in committing to that mission, we are pushed into those activities by the lived experience. I'm born and raised 9 kilometers at the bottom of the South African military base, what is called. And in your teenage life, you hear stories, and you come to experience those stories yourself. In my family also, the first white people I knew was a special branch, coming into my family, knocking, looking for my uncle who had left the country. And when my turn came to be detained, then you discovered as a teenager that this thing is not about protest, it's real. Big men, the size of rugby guys, will beat up a child this age. That I've seen, that I've experienced. I myself have been, I call myself a guest of the state who have been detained, kept in solitary confinement, and it's the amount of torture that you get at the hands of the state operatives that you realize this is war. This is real. Because these times were very, very clear. They take you from home, chained, you get a hiding. And we're scared. You're 15, you're 16, you really don't understand. But what that did invariably was it changed our minds. Unlike the other refugees, whilst we had political persecutions in our country, we took the revolution with the decision that we are going to free our leadership from prison to parliament. And we did that.